Any kills? I don't know. I'm interested to see. They must have something up their sleeve. CTBC Flying Oyster coming up against Helpigs. 4th game of the night, second to last. And just from the draft already, I can tell this one is going to be a really interesting one to watch. I feel like it's going to define a lot about how the meta continues to evolve.
Yeah, so CFO...
Oh,
the game has been paused. I was going to say that they really like to play early game, right? Like, they're going to know how to abuse this Kassadin and kind of like, even if it's not abuse the Kassadin lane itself, but actually, you know, invade the jungle, get dives going off on bot. So, yeah, I can't help but feel like this Kassadin is going to get countered here. Yeah,
I don't know. They need to be strong pre-6, but they don't have the tools that they need to be strong pre-6. I don't know how that all works out.
Well, I think that you might find... Sometimes you find that if you're playing Kassadin into something kind of early, that the other champion ends up just like roaming too much and Kassadin kind of just gets to scale for free. But I think that's probably not going to happen with CFO. I think they're just too clean in the early game.
Yeah.
I think to make that kind of mistake. And it's not like Syndra's scale is bad, right? Like Syndra's scaling is actually very, very good. I don't think many mid laners scale as well as Kassadin, but certainly scales well.
Yeah, thankfully, I think we are back into the game now. Taking a look at the runes, nothing too surprising. We have opted for the Unsealed Spellbook on Hong 2 over something like the First Strike.
Yeah, I think it's pretty to be expected nowadays. Mostly you just go Spellbook, Kassadin versus ranged, and Conqueror versus melee. Not going to be much happening here at level 1. Syndra has opted for the First Strike, which does make sense. You can definitely proc it on this lane. Hong 2 actually going to take a little bit of damage from Shun, and actually going to have to walk around as well. Not a great start to the lane.
Yeah, a little bit of extra gold in the pocket of Shun with that First Strike as well. He has opted for the Ignite again. We saw this yesterday, where it potentially does make more sense. Oh, Taco!
Oh, actually
this is
going
huge.
for some kind of level 1 cheese. I think Gemini is actually going to get pushed off.
Pops the Ghost.
Ghosts. You're probably forced to flash here, Gemini, because your Q's just going to get...
Oh, no, he's cancelled twice.
Yeah, not forced to flash.
Yeah, potentially might have been able to force it, but 2 cancelled autos, you're not going to have much else there. But it is definitely going to slow down Gemini pretty significantly. He's pathing back down towards his
he actually swaps to the other side, which is pretty interesting. I guess he wants to make sure that he is bot earlier. And actually another pause coming out. That is going to mean that Darius loses the top priority. But I don't think it'll matter a whole lot because, as we said, top lane is kind of going to be that island for a lot of this early game.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely does mean, like, that is a big tempo loss because we saw that on the other side, Wukong's already finished his red buff and doing his Krugs, and Gemini is still pathing to his first camp.
Yeah, he's definitely pretty behind, but the fact that he skipped a lot of camps to immediately get bot side makes me feel that probably not going to receive any punishment on the map, but just going to be behind a few camps, which isn't the end of the world, I feel like. At the same time, though, maybe it means that you can't set up any dives or invades or anything early, so... It's definitely pretty good from Taco to get that done. I think it impacts the map maybe a little more than you realize.
Yeah, I wonder if Wukong might potentially look topside with the red buff and maybe pressure Kasane a little bit more because Darius just has so much kill pressure, although he has popped the Ghost, which isn't going to be up for another 3 minutes. And I feel like that is one of the most obnoxious things that Darius does in the early levels, right? He pops Ghost, slows you with the empowered auto and really just runs you down. So not having that is going to make his early levels a little bit less threatening for Rest.
Yeah, I think Cassandre, though, isn't the strongest in the very early game. And yeah, I feel like the Darius, anyway, is kind of a scaling counter pick. So if you don't get a whole lot done in lane, I think that's fine. It's more just like, I think the first fight is really, really important for Darius, right? Like, if you come in that first fight and you die, it's really, really bad. But if you get in that first fight, ghost and pick up 1 or maybe 2 kills, suddenly you're on that path to just snowball out of control.
Yeah, it really does feel like Darius very quickly reaches the point where you can't even walk up to your minion wave without him just starting to walk at you and ordering you, chipping you away. And you could almost do the same thing for bot lane as well, with the Lucian Nami up against the Draven. Obviously, Draven does want to get that bounty, but at the same time, he's not really in a rush to get it, right? As long as he's not dying, he can keep building up those stacks, and eventually, as long as Tide can cash it out at some point, it's still the same amount of gold being transferred over to him, and yeah, it can really add up.
Yeah, I think Draven has somehow ended up as a kind of scaling champion just because he ends up getting so much gold that he ends up full build, like way ahead of anyone else. Obviously, he doesn't scale well into the ultra late game. It's relatively short range, but I think just if you get your passive stacks consumed once or twice, suddenly you're just so far ahead of gold, you know, over the enemy ADC that it's kind of hard to come back from.
Yeah, it feels like you hit your late game build in the mid game.
Yeah.
And that's just like, I feel like not many other champions can do that, right? Because he just generates so much gold very freely. And it's like, it's pretty obnoxious how he does it. Because it makes the game very weird because you're obviously like a lot more accelerated than your lane opponent. And you're definitely one of the hardest ones to play into, right? Draven with a lead.
Yeah, 100%. And I think the Draven passive, it kind of lends itself to thinking it's more of a solo queue thing, right? Because it just means that you can, you know, accelerate off the kills that are going to happen. But I think what actually happens is that in competitive, gold income is like hard to come by. So any gold that you can get over your opponent ends up being extremely valuable.
Yeah, especially when it's in big chunks like that, you know, that's unprecedented really. And you see Taco already just walking down rest. The trade actually ends up pretty even, but you can see here that Taco's counterpart, is in the area. He is sitting on a ward though.
Rest actually has Ignite, by the way. He's gone for the combat summoner.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so Taco actually has to be very careful here. Another pause. That sort of sucks.
They're really playing with us. But really, a lot of exciting stuff happening on the top side already. I wonder if anything's going to come from this, because Teiko, you know, he did have a big tempo lead over Gemini, but he's spent a lot of time already waiting in this top bush, and it's kind of already... His advantage has kind of run out. I have been told there is a player microphone issue. Unfortunately, again, the microphones are really not on our side tonight.
Unfortunately not. But it should be pretty easy to resolve, I think. They will have backup headsets in the worst case, so shouldn't be waiting too long. I think the top matchup now, it's actually in sort of a bad state. I think the Ignite from Rest is actually a pretty good adaptation. And it's going to allow him to, you know, really actually fight back in those 1v1s. And I think now with Taco not having Ghost at level 1, right? Like that trade wasn't as good for him as it would normally be. And now he's actually too low. Might be forced into resetting. He has Taker nearby, but the problem is the wave is sort of in a sketchy spot. Like maybe could get Taker to help him push it in, but sharing so much XP that early in the game, it wouldn't feel that good as well.
Yeah, it definitely sucks. Like he did. I feel like it was a good idea to pop that Ghost to sort of force Gemini out of the jungle, right? And it does create an advantage more for your jungler than for you. But it does feel like Teiko hasn't done anything with that advantage, and now it's just gone. Meanwhile, Gemini, you know, he's already ready with the red buff on the bot side, and that means that the Lucian Nami is just enabled to play a lot more aggressively, and that's what Shun really wants.
Yeah, 100%. So it does look like we might be getting into game sort of soon. Everyone's looking quite focused and ready. Will we see this jungle advantage actually turn into anything? I'm not totally sure.
Yeah, it feels like...
I feel like even if it doesn't actually, if nothing happens as a result, that's still pretty good for the Kassadin team, right? Like if you can slow down that early game and make sure not too much happens, then that's a win in itself. I do think it was kind of, yeah, maybe a bit risky from Taco to go for that huge level 1 trade without Ghost, because now it kind of feels like that Taco was stuck topside for a while. You can't really defend bot side, but fortunately, we are back on the rift. So what's going to happen with this top matchup here? Because, okay, he's actually going for the gank. Rest does have flash, though.
Rest isn't... Oh,
okay, never mind. It's Cassante. It just takes a little bit of damage on the way out. His wave is still kind of cooked.
Cooked. It is definitely very cooked. Taiko actually going to... Well, he is actually going to base. Drops a ward before he goes, but now... You'll see here both junglers sitting on 2 camps, but Gemini is about to take his 3rd one. And now, I feel like he really has options. He can maybe drive by mid, path towards top side. Whereas Taiko, his red buff is probably already going to be on the verge of running out.
Yeah, I think both junglers have wasted a fair amount of time, just based off what happened at level 1 and then the top thing. So, yeah, junglers are kind of in a similar state here, honestly, although Gemini might be able to do something with the mid priority. Is looking at this Scuttle Crab.
Oh, Taiko.
It's going to enter the river, but slightly too late in order to get this, and actually won't spot out Gemini. Possibly...
Oh, this is a really good
angle. Mid. Syndra will have stun ready, and Hong2's wave is in a rough position. So he actually might go for this instead, but this is a little risky because it does not have bot prior, so it is a pure 1v1 at the moment.
I don't think he's been spotted quite yet, but the ward has, you know, sort of spotted him out by proxy, but it does actually reset the blue buff, so Gemini getting a bit of revenge for that level 1 and slowing down Taiko in the process. It does mean the junglers are going to be split up for now.
Okay, so the Castaneda's got back with his tier. Forced to reset pretty early, which I think is pretty good for Syndra. If you can get Lost Chapter and then really punish into that tier before he manages to get Catalyst, I think that's probably the ideal for the matchup. Also has First Strike, so he can get there a lot easier.
Well,
Big damage coming onto Shun. The Draven Heimerdinger is actually doing a ton of damage. Shun's forced to heal.
Yeah, heal coming out. And that is a really good trade. But wait, Gemini's here on the top side. Taco might be in trouble, might be forced to flash. Does manage to get out.
Ooh,
potentially.
Actually, a lot of damage being traded.
Well, he's actually
going back in for more, but ooh.
That was weird. You know, it looked pretty dangerous for him, but I could tell he was going for, you know, the two-man queue to sort of heal back up. Interestingly enough, that Ignite comes out from rest at the same time, so he doesn't heal as much as he can, and that means he's not going to be able to stay for this wave. IC8 dropped very low.
Oh my god, will the Ignite take him out? I think it will. First Blood goes over to Shun. Wow, so Lucian Nami finding that a crucial acceleration.
Yeah, that's just the Lucian Nami lane, right? You know, in the blink of an eye, you can find your health bars is completely gone. Hongju actually trading aggressively on Jimmy as well.
Jimmy, I think it's going to be in a pretty good spot here. Should have the Lost Chapter now. Let's have a look at this replay. See what happened. I guess he just got hit by a bubble or something?
Yeah, he's walking up really far and Shun, I'm guessing, just dashes forward. Well,
yeah, because he doesn't have much mana.
Yeah, just dashes forward, drops Ignite, drops all the abilities, flashes forward for the double auto at the end, and IC8, yeah, not quite knowing his limit, you know? Maybe if he had 30, 50 more HP, he could have lived.
I think as well, if you don't have mana for E, it's very, very scary to walk up. If you can drop it straight away, but he did not. Now look at the mid item difference. It's pretty significant at the moment. Does have a Lost Chapter.
Oh, -1.
Oh, it happens.
That's rough. He used the W for the -2. He misses another one. Jimmy, please, you've got to get this. You've got to get this next one, otherwise it's all over. It's going to have the Q. Oh, uses the W. Decided he doesn't want to miss.
Yeah, using abilities is cheating though. Okay, he does push in the wave.
He's done it.
Probably not a whole lot you can do with this mid priority. Maybe you just look to harass Caston under the tower a little bit.
Taiko is in the vicinity for bot lane, walking up river. He might actually catch out Jimmy in here. Hongtu is level 6, but no, they're not quite gonna cross paths, and Taiko is gonna spot out the ward. No, he doesn't. Wow.
Ooh, okay, so he does spot it now. I kind of feel like you can't start this dragon.
Yeah, especially considering it's a cloud drake. I feel it's gonna take quite a lot of damage from this.
Yeah, I don't think this is that worth it, even if you get it. And I I feel like Syndra and Vi could probably just push them off it.
Taiko wasting like the honeyfruit disappears as well. That's so sad.
Yeah. No, I think that was always going to be pretty ambitious. I think it would obviously be nice to pick up a dragon with Casson early, but I think it's always, you know, kind of going to be a bit much. And I don't think quite has the lead in jungle to be able to do it, as well as bot lane falling a little bit behind now makes it more difficult.
Yeah. Gemini now waiting in bot side. I don't think he's been spotted yet.
Yeah, I think they could actually look here. IC8 does not have flash. Yeah, if I can hit the Q on him, he is going to end up dying here.
On my screen.
Yeah, the flash bubble probably not even needed.
Tide might have the flash yet too,
yeah, no, I think he's fine. There's nothing left. I'm not sure if that flash bubble was actually needed on the Heimer. I think maybe if you want to be really greedy, you could go for the flash bubble on Draven and try get his flash.
Yeah, I agree. Feels like once the Heimer is that far up with no flash, he's already dead. But another kill picked up for Shun.
Yeah.
Already well on his way to picking up his first mythic. Quite far ahead of Tide. Luckily enough for Hellpix, Tide hasn't died yet, so he's still got holding onto all of his stacks. So definitely potential for them to make up this gold deficit they're in right now.
So IC8's actually brought topside, and they're probably going to look to start up this Herald. I think they probably do get this. Currently they have top priority, and also their supports here. At the same time, though, I'm not sure how worth this Herald actually is, because Draven will probably lose quite a bit. Tide is going to be forced off that tower. Will they actually try to contest? I think this is not worth it. I think it's better even to just go bot in this situation.
Yeah, CFO.
Tide, he actually could be in trouble.
Oh, Tidal Wave comes out. It is.
Oh, yeah, it's forced to flash. So I'm not sure if this Herald actually ends up worth it. You know, Draven win condition is falling quite far behind. If maybe they can use the Herald to get Casson or Draven ahead, it could be, or sorry, Casson or Darius ahead, could be good, but so much being lost bot lane for that Herald.
Yeah, and in all of this, you know, this has mainly been CFO building up a lead for themselves. Jimmy hasn't, you know, with his prime, he hasn't even needed to rotate much. Oh, Rest actually looking for a fight here.
Oh, Gemini is here. Gets the ult, and I think, yeah, Tiger just kind of gets deleted.
Yeah, not much to it, really. I mean, Gemini shows up, helps out his boy Rest, and they're going to push in this wave as well. They do not have the Rift Herald, of course, because the Helpigs have picked it up, and it looks like Takeo has his eyes on the Drake as well. So although it is a kill, and potentially a couple plates for Rest, getting the Dragon in return is not too bad.
Yeah, getting the first Dragon on the board is nice, but at the same time, lanes are not looking good for Helpigs. You have, you know, fairly sizable deficits in all three lanes. Mid is the one that's the closest, and I mean, sure, it's nice, but that you're not really going to feel the effects of that for a pretty long time. Draven. The thing is, Draven's behind, and he's lost a lot of gold, but if he gets one kill, he could be back in it.
Yeah, for sure.
At the same time, though, Shun, you can't feel like he's going to let that happen. Takeo actually shows on the ward there. So CFO, they know he's around.
I feel like Takeo's pathing this game has been really awkward at times. Like, he's slowed himself down a considerable amount, but despite this Gemini... Yeah, I mean, Gemini's been able to get a lot more done on the map, actually. I'm not sure about the picking up the execution's calling.
Oh, he yoinks it.
Nice job, Taco. Doesn't even pop the emo, you know? Usually in that situation, you would pop the emo just for the extra tilt factor, but...
Okay, the ult comes down, but it doesn't really look like it's going to accomplish a whole lot. The early game, probably going to go back to being a little bit quiet here for a while. We'll have to see where this Herald ends up being used. Perhaps we'll try find a gank onto bot lane. If you could get a kill on Draven, it would be good, but at the same time, Lucian Nami is so strong. Do you actually want to fight this? Because if...
Takeo.
Yeah, I'm not sure about this. He will be behind, but at the same time, I don't think it's as winning as you'd think. Ooh, actually, the jungle pet shows. I don't know if they saw it, but the jungle pet is chilling in the bush there.
Hongtu's on the way as
actually
well.
managed to come down, and Cinera used her TP mid. Shun, I think he could be in trouble here. Probably going to have to instantly flash out. Might just end up dying to Cassidy anyway. Oh, Cassidy crucially picks up the shutdown. Give this kill to Draven.
Yes.
Oh, he gets it.
Helpigs are back in it. Both Cassidy and Tide on the Draven, able to pick up a kill. This is probably the best case scenario for them, right?
Yeah, I think that was a really big misplay from Syndra. She TP'd back to the lane, and I don't really think she needed to. Potentially could have just TP'd to this bot tower and prevented this. I think, yeah, crucially, shutdown going to Cassidy, and then the stacks going to Draven. It's basically as good as you can get for Helpigs here. I really think big misplay out of Syndra, TPing mid.
CFO are still 1k gold ahead, but definitely managed to make that deficit a little bit smaller, and we'll see what Tide picks up here. Does actually hit the Eclipse, so he's got the Mythic before Shun.
Yeah.
And now, you know, the Lucian Nami isn't going to be as strong. Let's take a look at the replay. Takeo going on a very wide flank, and this takes a while. And I'm surprised CFO weren't included in on this, right? Because Cassidy was missing for so long, and Takeo hasn't been on the map for ages, but despite this, Shun and Sleichu just too far up in the lane. And you see Hong2 coming over the wall very shortly. And this is when Takeo walks in. He knows the tribush is probably going to be warded, but by now it's too late. But never mind. Takeo has been killed. Same with Gemini. Both junglers taken out. I'm sure we'll see a replay for that at some point in the future.
Yeah, Hong2, though, he gets another kill. I mean, he's going to feel pretty good about that. Jimin's still, pretty far ahead in CS, but Casson does scale like an absolute monster and getting 2 kills. As soon as he hits level 11, he's going to be in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, definitely, right?
Hong2.
Yeah, it feels like
pretty aggro.
You know, the early game win condition for Helpigs was the Draven, and even though we didn't initially get that, he's kind of made up that difference now. Oh my, Rest is going in on Taco.
Going for it. He forced him to ghost away. Flashes after him. I think that's going to be it. But getting both of Darius' sums, it's going to kind of neutralize him for a good, good portion of this game here. And with Dragon in a minute 30. Well, Taker's actually up here, and Rest does not have any sums.
The all-out is running out very shortly as well, so he's not going to have as much combat power as he did earlier, and he's probably just going to get walked down here by Taco and Takeo.
Oh my god, the dynamic duo is going to take him out.
Yeah, it takes a while, but they do make it there, and Taco does pick that up now. Let's take a look at the replay. Jimmy, okay, so he hits... What does he even do here? Let's have a look. I'm seeing this for the first time too.
Okay.
So the Vial comes in on to Takeo, and a lot of flash has been, but Jimian does get the unleashed power onto Takeo, but Gemini gets return killed by Hong2. So just trading kills there in the mid lane, but definitely very good if you're Hong2.
Yeah. Sadly, the top kill did go on to Wukong. I think it would be better if Taco's Darius could pick it up.
Yeah, Taco instead of Taco.
Not bad overall, though. Bowling is kind of, gone back to being even. I think it's going to a lot depend on, can the Solution Nami snowball further before Cassinan ends up taking over? Manages to get the crab ahead of Dragon, which is actually kind of a big deal. Cassinan's very close to level 11. If he can grab this before this fight starts, it would be big, and I think he should get it here off the way.
He's really not respecting Jimmy's damage, but yeah, it does hit level 11. And now, looking at the gold graph, CFO, of course, still in the lead, but the deficit has, slowly been reducing. I'm interested to see what the items are at this stage, because I assume Shun has also hit his mythic by now on the Gale Force. No, he hasn't. Okay. Well, if you're Hellpix, I think you're pretty comfortable fighting for this.
Yeah, I think... Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a 4v4. No top laners involved, and I think Hellpix should win right now, especially after the culling was just wasted. It does give them prio, but I think Hellpix, you probably do want to contest this.
Yes.
Even if you lose a dragon, I think you just play for the fight after.
If we're just trying to rush it on Vision, Taiko isn't able to quite get the steal, and now he's by himself. Unleashed power dropped, and he's popped instantly. Where is the rest of Hellpix? It seems like they're on different pages there.
I think that was kind of just a miscommunication from the whole team, because either you're just giving that and soaking waves and then you just don't need to go in for that, or you're trying to play for the fight but you're not actually playing for the dragon, and then all you really need to do is just like look at them, try to keep them in that area. But ultimately, yeah, there's some breakdown of communication. Taker just kind of goes in and ends 1v4. I'd be interested to hear the comms. Not that I could understand them, but,
I like to tell from the tone.
Yeah.
Yeah, but off the back of that, because Taiko has died, it does mean the Rift Shield as well is going to go to CFO. That's pretty good if you're them, but we have to see how they can, get effective usage out of that. It does look like the top tower on the side of Hellpix is pretty low, so maybe we'll be able to take that one down and then drop the Rift Shield mid.
Taiko, I think he might be caught out again.
What's going on?
Yeah, back-to-back really big misplays.
Yeah, he must have taken the Hex Gate or something and not having a good read on where everyone else is on the map. And just caught in a 1v4 again. Maybe just really loves getting grouped up on.
Well, next dragon's not for a while. Probably gonna just scale up a bit, and I think that's okay for Hellpegs. Obviously, your Darius and Draven don't scale insanely well, at least not in this kind of game state. But your Cassinan is very, very strong. Has got 2 items at 16 minutes. So, yeah, he's going to be feeling pretty good. Have to see if he can get anything done in the side lane, because I feel like even when Cassinan gets fed, it's quite hard to actually do stuff into Cassante. You can probably do stuff into Syndra, but again, it's a pretty hard champ to actually kill.
Yeah. Taking a look at the player gold, Shun and Jimmy still in the lead. Actually by a considerable amount, bigger than I would have expected. Tide sitting 1k behind on the Draven, and items are pretty much about even.
Yeah, I think those first strikes make up for a little bit of the gold as well. Both Syndra and Lucian with the first strike, kind of just adds a little bit of extra gold on top.
Yeah, now CFO, they've taken the top tower, looking to start pushing the mid one as well. Rift Herald is still up for Gemini. You have to assume he's going to drop it here relatively soon to try and open up the map a lot more. He's waiting. ICA needs to be really careful here. He doesn't want to overstep and be in the Wild range.
Ooh.
Jimmy is waiting in the wings as well.
But he's
playing with fire.
Okay, so he actually checks with the W. The Syndra stun is going to hit. Oh, actually the double stun. Very, very nice. Tide goes insanely low. Wow, that was a really insane stun out of Jimmy.
Yeah, the last bullet from Culling, they're just managing to finish off Tide, and now Rift Herald is popped. Doesn't even need to use its health on the first tower, which means it's probably going to take down the inner turret as well. It's going to be an even bigger gold swing for the side of CTBC flying Oyster on in the meantime, Hongtu looking to see what he can get done on the top side of the map.
Yeah,
I wonder if CFO can find another pick here, potentially.
This is kind of huge for CFO.
They're not stopping it. It's going to get a hit on the inner tower as well.
Cassinan does have TP if they stay too long.
Wow.
Okay, they just get the damage. So I think this is still pretty big for CFO. They shut down the Draven stacks. They get 2 mid towers and open up the game a lot. At the same time, though, Hongtu actually might be able to kill Jimmy in here. As soon as his tower goes down, he's actually going to go for it. Jimmy, I think he's dead. Pretty much no way to get out of this, I wouldn't think. I think, yeah, he gets chased down and definitely dies. Ooh. And uses the flash as well.
That's really bad.
Yeah, Jimmy, and he makes great play and then followed up by a seemingly not great play.
Not too
It was actually
optimal.
An insane stun on mid. Opened up pretty much everything for them, but then immediately after gives a massive shutdown to Cassidy and Taker.
Oh no,
Ooh,
it's really not Taker's game.
Yeah, he's having a roughie.
Yeah, Jimmy though, just getting a bit too greedy on the top side, trying to save the top tower as well. You can see here, the tower's already very low. Hongtu just finishes it off before turning his sights onto Jimmy and Jimmy tries to drop the ult to try and hit the stun as well, but actually misses. Not that it probably would have mattered anyway. Hongtu was eventually going to chase him down, but Jimmy, I don't know why he tries to flash there. I mean, Taiko is relatively close, but I think even if Taiko does come, Hongtu still gets the kill anyway.
Yeah, I think the best play there was probably to go like flash down immediately, because the reason he started going up was just to get the stun, try and get Hongtu away from him. But I think if you'd flashed down, probably would have lived. Either way though, the end result is Cassidy continues to scale.
Yeah, hitting 8 stacks on his Rod of Ages now. He's working towards his Zhonya's Hourglass as well, which is going to be really important in those team fights when Gemini starts trying to lock him down. 2k gold lead now for the Flying Oysters. In the other lanes though, let's check back in on top, because Taco has got his Black Cleaver, and despite this, we haven't seen too much fighting between the two of them. Maybe Cassandre really is just that durable, but I feel like you would expect the Darius at some point to be able to overpower him.
Okay, so Dragon is just going to go over to CFO. I actually like what Hellpigs are doing here. They're just trying to trade more and more gold on the Cassidy. This is only the second Dragon, so giving it away is not a huge deal. Well, Shun's actually here, and Hongtu might be caught out. I think he actually is going to end up going down to Lucian. Will he? Oh, he's so low. Taiko actually goes back in. It's going to end up dying. Yeah, but that's really nice that the Cassidy shutdown didn't end up going over. I wonder, can they get anything more off of this? I don't think you can start Baron, but maybe you can look to just crash waves, get Dragon.
And it feels like CFO really just winning out across the map continuously. Taiko. Oh, wow. Okay. 1v1 between Taco and Rest. He has got full stacks, but Gemini's here as well. And it looks like Rest is just going to get locked down.
Cassidy's TP'd in, though, but I think there's probably not enough damage here.
He's going to run out of
he actually arced forward. I can't believe he did that.
I don't think he's going to survive.
Can he get out? Maybe he actually does. Oh, the flash really is really crucial. Yeah, wow. I think that's really big mistakes coming out of Hellpigs. I mean, they had a fairly stable game state, and they kind of just give it all away. Yeah,
making multiple errors in a row, it's really not what you like to see. First Taiko getting caught out rather, but now, seeing Hongtu and Taco getting grouped up on as well, and now CFO taking out the inner turret. The gold lead has somehow swung in the last few minutes to 5k in the favor of 6k now, actually. Let's take a look back at this 1v1. So Taco actually gets his full stacks onto Rest and maybe thinks that he can start winning this fight, but he isn't aware that Gemini is actually on the Dragon as well. So Gemini actually just finishes off and walks up. And Taco actually still has time to walk away here. I guess knowing that Hongtu is coming in with the TP, but I don't see how they're actually going to win this 2v2, even if Hongtu does make it a bit earlier.
Yeah, I think it just takes so long to deal with Cassante that you need to be able to chase him over a really long period and not have anyone else show up. And Gemini, I think, has done a great job of just pretty much always being in the right place. IC8's caught out and just gets one shot by Jimmy and Syndra.
Yeah, lots of magic penetration. Probably, definitely doing true damage on the Heimerdinger now. Jimmy is very strong. And while Hongtu is also at quite a strong state, I feel like for Jimmy it's a lot easier to, take advantage of those long-range stunts and pick out kills. Even if he can't finish them off himself, he's got the killing to back him up as well.
You're going to siege this bot in heaven. I think they will get it. Hongtu is going to trade the top lane tier 2, which is it is a good gold onto the Cassidy, but losing your bot in him here, it does feel pretty bad. You don't have a lot of wave clear on your team.
Yeah.
Actually, and I think they can go for 2 inhibs maybe. It sort of makes sense that Cassidy isn't here because he doesn't have a lot of wave clear. So it's not like he could do a whole lot, but at the same time, losing 2 inhibs does kind of feel like a death sentence in this game.
Yeah, sucks. Right, Hongtu does pick up the inner tower, but now just, picking up a Gromp and maybe Rift Scuttler in return for losing your inhib turrets and your inhibs. It feels like a trade you have to make, but it still sucks to be in that position.
The Hongtu is level 16 here, and I think he might have the Zhonyas as well. So I feel like this is probably as strong as he's going to get just for this game, because I think it's unlikely you hit another full item before this game ends. Does pick up the Zhonyas. Having a little bit of a technical issue here. Can't quite see, but we can hear. Sounds like Lucian is shooting the blue buff.
Lucian is ordering a lot here. I think lots of orders. Some pings coming out. You have to use echolocation to figure out where exactly everyone is.
We are.
Hoping that this can get fixed up soon. Some technical difficulties from the broadcast end, but
Back to us.
now you get to see us again. I'm assuming the game is hopefully paused now. I don't want to miss out on too much. This is such a
I
crucial.
hope so.
It's a crucial point in the game where, they've picked up the bot inhib, which is really crucial. I mean, sure, the mid inhib as well, but the bot one is really the one that helps you get that pressure onto Baron, right?
Yeah, I think the bot inhib definitely matters a lot, especially when you don't have great wave clear. And like, sure, your Kassadin can farm it a lot, but he's going to be kind of stuck in that bot wave just clearing, while the other, on the other side of the map, you can kind of just look to start the Baron up. And I feel like Helpigs were in a decent spot. Like, the early game didn't go great, but they kind of clawed it back. But then they just ended up through, I would say, kind of silly mistakes, giving it all back over to CFO. And CFO, they're able to punish.
Yeah,
well.
I mean, it feels like one of those times where, like, in isolation, those one-off mistakes aren't much, right? But when you have them in quick succession, you can just see how quickly it can get out of control. CFO went from maybe being like, 1K, 1.5K gold ahead to like 5, 6K just from like a few minutes. It really is not great to have play sort of become that messy, especially when you're entering the mid to late game.
Yeah, I think as well, we haven't really seen the red side 5-pick Darius really have impact yet.
Yeah.
I think part of it is countering Cassante is just it's tough,
feels like
right?
it's impossible at this point.
Yeah, it feels very, very difficult. And I think, I don't know, at the same time, not getting much out of your red side last pick always does feel very bad. It's your chance to just counter, your lane, counter their whole composition, really be the nail in the coffin for what they've shown. And I think if your red side 5-pick just ends up really not doing a whole lot, I mean, it feels really bad.
Yeah, like, you'd want the Darius to at least, put up a decent fight in the 1v1, but it feels like he's not even able to accomplish that. And I feel like in team fights, it's not really going to get that much easier for him either. You've got the Nami tidal wave, you've got the Syndra stun to sort of dissuade him away. I mean, maybe you can catch up to them with the Ghost, but you have to find a really good flank, I feel, to actually get value out of the Darius.
Yeah, I think it's definitely tough at this point in the game. Trying to think, I think they banned 2 mids second phase. They banned Azir and Rise, I think it was. I think both of those bans, probably one of those could have been a Cassante, in my opinion. I don't think Azir is any more oppressive than Syndra. In fact, I'd say it's probably less so.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I think the Cassante keeps being given over. And there have admittedly been a couple counter picks that have worked. But I think on balance, Cassante is just too safe, too consistent, too hard to counter, and just always ends up having a ridiculous amount of impact on the game.
Yeah, it really makes me wonder how the scrims are going, right? Because, like, in these stage games, it feels like consistently Cassante is just so dominant. Like, sure, there's been some games where he hasn't been able to quite find his footing, but more often than not, he's just this unkillable beast that somehow deals a million damage at the same time.
Yeah, I feel like it could definitely be a sort of scrim bait, where in scrims, the Cassantes are kind of testing their limits, trying to learn the new champion, and as a result, just end up, giving over kills and stuff. And then, kind of getting snowballed on.
Really rough. I think we're probably going to go to a quick break for now as we sort out these technical difficulties, but we'll be right back with the game as soon as we've got it all back up and running. We are back. That was a pretty short break, but in that time, I've quit League of Legends, bought a house, bought a car, got my full driver's license, had 3 kids. It's the small moments that count, really.
Yeah, wow, you got a lot done. Very time efficient. Yeah, hopefully we'll be getting back. That's the shortest break I've ever seen, by the way. I was kind of expecting when you said we're going to a break, it'd be a bit longer than 40 seconds, but
that's all right. We give the viewers a break from hearing our voices. It's been a long day for sure. They need the extra 30 seconds, but hopefully we'll be getting these issues sorted out very quickly. It seems like it's more of an issue with the broadcast with the game, but also I know nothing about either, so really hard to say. Oh, look, we are back.
How much time have we lost? I don't remember. I think it's about
years.
the same, right? I don't think we've gone too far. Yeah, it looks to be about the same.
Baron is still alive. You can see CTBC flying Oyster starting to pressure the topside jungle. They have missed the ward already. It's always crucial to make sure you're checking all the corners. They do check this one, but they're not going to pick up that one beside the Raptor camp.
Yeah, with this double inhib pressure, it can definitely just start to kind of siege down this last lane. And normally when you get 3 inhibs, the game is just pretty much over. And they actually might play for it even without Baron here.
Yeah, Hong2 in the meantime has been quietly split pushing and clearing waves. He has hit level 16 now, so with his 3 items, you have to assume that Helpix, you know, this is probably the best they're going to get in terms of fighting power on the Kassadin. But I'm still unsure with how you deal with the rest, right? Because the Draven, sure, he got that 1 kill earlier, but he hasn't been able to get much else past the landing phase.
Yeah, I kind of think they just might be too far behind in order to get kills. Kind of need to make some picks. Third Dragon will be up in 45 seconds. I actually think I'd prefer for CFO to just play for Baron, because I think with that inhib pressure, you should just be able to pick up the Baron, and once you do, you can kind of just play for the end with it. And I think that's maybe what they're looking for now. They have such huge topside quadrant control.
Yeah, Takeo actually goes into Hexgate, but tries to hop up the wall, but gets spotted by the ward and Tribush. CFO did ping that out, so now they're just going to rush down the Baron. No response at all from Helpix. Not too sure what Takeo was going for there. I feel like, I mean, sure, they're probably going to take the Baron eventually anyway, but to get spotted just sort of accelerates their process. Now Takeo playing with fire yet again. He really loves these Hex Gates.
Oh, the clone just got destroyed. Yeah, I'm not really sure what Takeo's plan there was, because I feel like Cassante was the only one ever going to be in that side lane, and he wasn't killable. I mean, you see it here. There's 3 dudes chasing Rest down. Oh, actually decides to go back in.
Oh, he's half HP. He's
Will he
actually
end up
low
dying
now.
for it? I mean, he's just... Okay, no,
force the flash over the wall. Does pop the Gargoyle as well. Yeah, not sure what he was doing there by himself. Maybe just trying to show off what his champion can do. Doesn't have TP to come back as well, so that actually is going to hit CFO's tempo a little bit here.
Yeah, I think Rest should... Maybe they just all commit to bases and they go play like Dragon and then come back here. But yeah, I think getting chunked out there does slow the game down a fair amount, because you probably could just ignore the Dragon and look to Siege, but the rest getting chunked out.
Especially when you see that bot wave, you know, it's already stacked up. If he had been just, you know, sitting on the mid wave, baroning it up and making sure that's slower for HPS to kill with their 0 wave clear, they could have been in a really good spot to take that top inhib as well, but now forced to settle for the Dragon instead. And it just means that Helpix are getting a little bit of extra farm from those supers.
Yeah, so now I think you probably put Cassante in mid and then try Siege through top with your other 4. Alternatively, you could just try play for the end on the bot and mid waves, but I would prefer to see the CFO 4-man go up towards top and have Cassante come towards mid.
It does feel a bit safer, right? Because Hong2 is actually pretty strong there. Oh wait,
Stun actually hits a lot of damage.
Oh, he's very low. Culling going to drop him even lower. Going to escape on 1/3 of his health. And that is actually pretty good for Helpix. That's Unleashed Power and the Killing now not available. If you want to fight, now is the time for Helpix. Yeah,
they're just playing mid-bot. They're really thinking they can go for the end here. They don't have Syndra ult. They are getting chip damage.
Takeo needs to find an angle.
I think Taco's kind of used everything here. I think CFO probably just can't. Okay, Takeo gets a big engage. He gets the knockup. Kassadin's in the backline. He's dealing a lot of damage. But I think the Syndra stun is huge. And Hong2, I think he's just too low. Shun is flashing forward. So much damage coming out. And I think that is going to be it. They are going to pick up the game. Wow, a lot of confidence from CFO to go for that. You know, this is not a team that's just going to wait for objectives. They're willing to really just, you know, force the game, force the victory.
Hong2 not quite able to get his revenge on Shun at the end, but that is going to be